I started using moving images, I think, in a focused way about 4 or 5 years ago through an animation project which we did at my previous school in conjunction with the local high school. And the next stage for me was using short films in the classroom and using them primarily as a discussion tool. And short films like the ones the BFI produce in their Starting Stories pack elicit amazing conversation and discussions and ideas, which is fantastic. And then the next stage was then using them as a way of motivating writing and to help structure the writing, to help give them ideas, but also to fuel their imagination to put in new ideas as well. But I think film is important in two ways. It's important to look at it as a form of text in its own right and to study specific things that make it different from other types of literacy. So the use of camera shots, the use of sound, the use of colour, and that can sense in the way that it's composed and telling a story from those elements. And I was involved with a project with Scotland on Screen looking at old archive footage, some of which is absolutely fantastic, real nuggets of old films about Scotland, and thinking about how they could be used in a class context in a similar way into which maybe the BFI films have been used to promote different discussions, motivate writing, or in a cross-curricular way across different subjects, how they could be relevant and useful. So our topic was the Victorians, and film really comes in at the end of the Victorian period, but there's lots of really great nuggets of archive film that we can still use. So we've been using one's documentary about the Tay Bridge disaster. We've been watching a film about street games, which is actually a later film, but a lot of discussion about sort of games and toys and activities children would have done. The Victorians comes into that too. We watched the children's street games short clips, and they inspired us to make our own documentary based on games we played now, games the Victorians played, and kind of new games that people do, for instance skateboarding and handheld consoles. They split into groups, thought about storyboarding, how they were going to film it, how they were going to go about it. And from the outset we said we weren't going to worry about the sound, because sometimes the sound can be difficult to pick up in the playground things. Because the original clips, they clearly recorded the sound over the top, and it was just a kind of a medley of different songs. So we collected lots of songs that we knew. We thought, okay, we're not going to struggle to find things to put over the top of it, and just concentrate on getting them into character and how they're going to make these games come alive. For the children's street games, we're really focusing on the camera aspect and how a camera is used to record something, which can be quite tricky. And we've made other films in the classroom, like animations and simple kind of video presentations. This is the first time they're really going to get hands-on use of the camera. And how were they going to use that camera to record and to show their street games. And so we'd been done various storyboards from other short films to kind of talk about camera shots and things like what a point of view shot does and why would you need a close-up, or why is it just keep it on a medium shot, or different types of shots they use, which they had that vocabulary, and this was a kind of a challenge for them to maybe use it in a real sense. So it was interesting to watch how some people cope quite well and other people still want to run around with a camera and chase each other with it, which is fair enough. But it was good. It was a good learning curve, and I think they did really well with it, yeah.
Go, 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 bananas, go, 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 bananas. Dan, Dan, the funny wee man, washed his face with a frying pan, combed his hair with the leg of the chair. Dan, Dan, the funny wee man. You'd be in the hospital or infirmary, for you would see a dozen of flu or